What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a brand new Madden 25 realistic rebuild. It's realistic in the sense that we're using real college players and realistic draft classes. The team that we are controlling, however, is not. So, first things first, you might say, what is this? The Las Vegas Vipers? Well, I'm going to give a shout out here to CB Gaming on YouTube. I was just trying to see who might have kind of created a cool creative team. I haven't used any adding creative team to Madden was like one of my top wish list items, and then they finally do it, and then I get all burnt out from, honestly, if I had to be honest, like point blank period, it was so frustrating to get creative teams working in college football that when I saw they're using the exact same site, system, method, I was like, I can't do that to myself again, at least within the same year. So CB Gaming made this cool Vegas Vipers team. I thought, man, those jerseys pop out, so full shout out there. But the team that we're utilizing is our would-be Madden 25 Pink Slip roster. Pink Slips is a series, a very niche series, near and dear to me and people that support my content that I created way back. I don't know if we're at 10 years yet. But essentially, it's a very simplistic series where if you win a game, you win a player. You lose a game, you lose a player. And the initial starting roster of that series is always a team that is kind of cupcakey. And the fairest way to kind of do that is like, all right, everyone has to be below a base rating of 70 overall. Now, we did Pink Slips this year. Backed by popular demand, but I did a retro Pink Slips. We started way back in like the mid-2000s. And that is our starting point. So unfortunately, players that currently exist in Madden 25, players that currently exist in the league, aren't going to be able to get the Pink Slips treatment. So I think it'd be a disservice to not at least feature some of those guys in a video. And that is what we're doing here today. We're not going to do necessarily Pink Slip rules, but I'm going to start with that roster. We are starting with a cupcake roster, and we're going to have to turn this team into a Super Bowl champion. So we had a couple options for a starting quarterback, but I think there's no quarterback, even with full shout out to Malik Willis. Malik Willis was a Pink Slip quarterback, and he was a rookie. He is now a backup. He's been relegated to hold the clipboard. Joe Milton is our guy. 6'5", 246, 98 throw power. Now, he doesn't have, cheesy speed, but, I mean, definitely more than enough to consider him a true dual threat. But that 98 cannon, he's absolutely our starting quarterback this year. Couple interesting options at running back. Kene Nwangwu is the pink slippy running back, but again, much like Malik Willis, already have been a starter through some of our teams throughout the year. So we're going to go with a new name, and it's for the brand, Carson Steele. I was surprised to see that he was below a 70 overall, but the fact that he is, yep, that's our guy for the brand. I will say if there's one position that I was really disappointed by, trying to find fun, new, exciting options for pink slips, it is wide receiver. Nothing too crazy, to be honest with you. Like Anthony Schwartz, but he's been around for a minute. He's been in a couple different pink slip teams. Same with Devin Tompkins. We got Bryce Ford Wheaton out of West Virginia, 6'4", 220 with 92 speed. Probably the only got a fun guy is Johnny Wilson. He's not really pink slips because he only has 88 speed, but he is 6'7" and 231 pounds. So we're going to make that work. And then you combine that with a tight end room that is all guys that were former, I don't know if Devin Culp was a former wide receiver, but there's also no real fun tight end this year. These are all guys that, have inflated stats because they were wide receivers that made the convert. So that kind of sucked a little bit. And, if there's one position that I really want to look forward to drafting some cheesy pink slip players, it would be our receiving room. Offensive line's nothing crazy. Usually for pink slips, we look for the most athletic offensive lineman under a 70 overall. Of course, we got Dan Skipper here just because in case we got to throw the football to a lineman for some reason. But, I mean, we got Dan Feeney for the brand. That's just, mullet stash. Looks like my dad from the 80s, so we'll get that going. Athletic centers. All these guys, for the most part, have over 70 speed. Now, Ben Cleveland, he's been utilized before. That is a very pink slip player. 6'6", 370, and he has 70-plus speed and 90-plus strength. Is pretty ridiculous. Blake Cleveland, also a really nice athlete out of BYU. On the defensive side, we have Barno, who's been a pink slips king. He is one of the most underrated Madden players and has been for a minute at 6'6" with 92 speed, 94 acceleration. We have Bo Richter entering the fray here a little bit. He is a 69 overall. I remember his pro day. I was looking through all the pro day numbers last year. I was like, holy shit. He was 6'1", 250, And he's like, oh, we got 92 acceleration, 80s plus speed, big time agility. He's a very nice athlete. But I'm going to be honest, it's likely going to be Barno starting in that position because he is one of a kind. On the other side, we have Yasir Abdullah, who's another big time freak of nature player. 6'1", 234 pass rusher out of Louisville with 90 speed, 96. You might as well just always, count the boosts and stuff like that because they're not going away anywhere. Definitely needs to work on, the moves a little bit, power move, finesse move, but that will come. As it stands right now, the athletic profile is outstanding. And in the interior, got a couple guys here, but the big name is Adetomiwa Adebaware, formerly of the Colts, 6'2", 282, a legit D tackle. Now, I'm legit. He is a little bit undersized, but 282 is a believable D tackle in today's NFL. Athletic profile is ridiculous. 89 speed, 93 acceleration, 84 strength. Much like everybody else, though, we're going to have to work on the technical side. Linebacking core, we have Channing Tindall at linebacker, 6'2", 230, 91 speed, 94 acceleration. We have Papo. Shout out to the Cardinals franchise. He was a legit OG in that series for us. Servassier Dennis at linebacker. We got Ulo Fushoyo. Sure. Yep. Well, he's some pretty good speed. We also have Dominique Hampton, formerly of the Commanders, with 91 speed, 91 acceleration. So lots of depth, a lot of big-time athletic linebackers that we can rock and roll with. But Ulo Fushoyo, that's a sick name. Corner room, good corners, always a good crop of corners. Look at this guy, Tyreek Funderburk, sick name, so he made it. Ethan Bonner, we got a little bit of an exciting white back there. Super fast corner from Stanford. I think he was on the Dolphins. I'm not gonna lie, he's gonna start. We have the Canadian Dane Leonard. We got Pritchett, the rookie, and we have Richardson. Well, I guess they're not rookies anymore, second-year players. These are the guys that we need to hit. These are the guys that we need to get on the field because these are guys that are going to develop nicely. Free safety room, we have Tyson Anderson. He's been on the pink slip teams the last couple of years. Great height, weight, speed player. And at safety, we have Scott and Skinner, 6'4", 220, almost 90-plus speed for Skinner. An absolute beast. We got Mevis, the 240-pound kicker from Mizzou with 96 kick power. And we have another pink slip great in Pat O'Donnell, who's pretty much, for the last almost decade, the most athletic punter in Madden, and we're able to get him. Very happy with that. So that is our pink slip team. Now, pink slips also kind of works because the whole plan is we have this bad team, and they're going to develop, but the big thing is eventually we're going to start winning, and we're going to be able to take these players and upgrade them to bigger and better players, and that's how we end up building a really, really good team, as we are doing right now in our Pink Slips series. Go check that out if you somehow have been living under a rock and missed that we started that series. We're not going to play with pink slip rules, though. This is just the pink slip team. So it's kind of like, it's my way of doing a super hard 0 overall rebuild. I'm starting with a very fun team, but a team that is not going to be particularly good. There's no boosts. There's no quick fix to making this team better. We're going to have to grow and develop, build through the draft. We'll likely be very restricted as it comes to free agency, I think. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scenarios unless there's an ultimate, kind of pink slip type player that's there. But my plan is to develop as many of these original starting team as I can and then build through the draft. And who knows how long, but we have at minimum 5, maximum 10 seasons to make this team a Super Bowl champion. Let's get into the first offseason. So as we start the draft, we're going to go with pink slips mentality. I need to draft the big-time freaks. Unfortunately, the name I thought was almost guaranteed to be on the board at pick 6 is gone. Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M is arguably the biggest freak in this class. If you look at what the RAS score, RAS score, which I talk about a lot in my draft content, it's basically, it puts a measurement number grade out of 10, like a 10 being a perfect athlete, perfect specimen from the combine and testing numbers. And Shamar Stewart's like a 9-9, like almost a perfect 10. There's a couple guys that are like 9-9s, near perfect 10s. And the good news is that some of those guys are going to be available outside of the first round. But as we are talking about first rounders, Stewart would have been my number 1 pick. And this one, unfortunately, is not going to be super sexy. Could go Genty, but he doesn't necessarily have the testing numbers. It's Membu at tackle. Membu put up insanely athletic numbers at 6'4", 330 pounds. Like, he is probably a top 10 all-time athlete at tackle, if you're going back to the historical data. So that is where we're going to start this journey, and it ends up being pretty terrible value. 74, we get him at number 6, but at 330 pounds. you get 81 acceleration, 76 speed, and 91 strength. And it might not be sexy, but we're staying on the offensive line. Tate Ratledge from Georgia, a 9.96 RAS. Historical numbers. Really, there's 3 players that we could be picking right now. Really, the big 2 are Ratledge, and there's Darian Porter, the corner from Iowa State. But I think we go with the less sexy. We already missed out. Like, you know, if Eman Wari, Shamar Stewart, probably Travis Hunter, those guys already out the board, so why not? Let's go get 6'6", another guy, almost 80 speed and 89 strength. And it worked itself out very well. We're able to get in the 3rd round, Darian Porter, 6'4", 200 pounds, ended up running a low 4.3. As far as RAS score is concerned, he has a 9.9, which is the 4th highest score for a corner. And he tested everything. Sometimes these numbers get deflated because they only might run the 40 and maybe do a vertical jump. They don't do the agility drills. Every single thing, he did everything but bench press. So he is one of the most, like, I think even if you just kind of don't even grade it against, he's probably at worst like a top 10 athlete that we have seen since 1987 at the corner position. That is as pink slip as it can get. And he ends up being an absolute value, number 25 in true value, but no dev trade. Now, I don't love our receiving room. And Alec Ayomanor, the Canadian, put up a 9.71 RAS. Now, at wide receiver, there's been so many great athletes. The fact that he is roughly a top 100 as far as athlete all time at the wide receiver position, that is good enough for me for a team that is desperate for wide receiver help. Plus, he's Canadian, that helps. 126 in true value at 71, but he does pull the dev trait. And probably, I mean, he only had 4.4 speed. It just helps that he's bigger. 6'1", 210, 6'2", 210, 38-inch vertical. Really, really good broad jump. Checks out. Hey, in our tight end room, we're going to go get a very athletic tight end in Terrence Ferguson, who is the 92nd since 1987 athlete at the tight end position of all time. Of that time frame. Of all time between 1987 and 2025. One of my favorite tight ends in this year's class. 172 in true value at 102, but he does pop with a dev trait. Speed, height, weight, speed. Let's go grab Mr. Height, weight, speed from the draft. Dante Thornton from Tennessee, 6'5" BD per running, ran a 4.30 flat, somewhere in that range. 190 in true value, 134, but at 6'5" with 97 speed, that'll do. Next at wide receiver, we're going to draft Jalen Noel, who put up a 9.75 RAS, which is 96 since they've started measuring it since 1987. An elite speed grade, elite explosion grade, almost a 42-inch vertical, ran a 4.3. Yep, that checks. And, you know, for us needing to come into this draft needing to improve the receiving room, we've definitely done that. Noel's a dog, man. Give him a little more speed than that, though. Come on. As much as I like Carson Steele, Bayshall Tootin ran the fastest 40-yard dash time for a running back at the combine, so that speed absolutely can be utilized on our roster. 96 acceleration, 96 speed. Let's go. We're going to finish in the 7th round with one of the biggest athletes that I'm surprised that's still on the board. Ty Robinson, the D tackle out of Nebraska. He ended up putting up a 9.89 RAS, which is 24th all-time for defensive tackles. And, like, that's with some of the D tackles that weigh, like, 278. You know, guys that are pretty much glorified DNs. He is right up there with them. That is a big-time value to land in the... Oh, my God. His rating kind of sucks, but you can definitely see the athleticism there. I do think in a perfect world, we would have been able to get Travis Hunter to start things off, but the nature of the beast is, you know, did not get a great starting pick at 6. Had to sit and wait and watch other really, really fun, exciting players go off the board. But I think we made do. We got some of the ugly positions out of the way of guys that should grow into pivotal pieces of this team when hopefully we turn around to become a playoff contender and Super Bowl favorite. Mambu 71, the dev trait, Ratledge 75. Porter 75, Ayomanor 70, but with a dev trait. Terrence Ferguson 68, but with a dev trait. 68 for Thornton, 70 for Noel, 69 for Tootin, and 64 for Robinson. But all these guys, big-time athletes. So our first game of the Vipers era is on the road against the Commanders. Hopefully the stadium doesn't collapse on us in this matchup. Full disclosure, I'm going to hop in, just have a little bit of fun with this matchup, but I do think we had to give our team favorable playbooks that kind of compensate for the rating since we're not doing like pink slip rules and we're not going to be able to steal away good players. So we're going to go with not the cheesiest, but one of like the more surprisingly good playbooks that I found along this road of all the rebuilds we've done in Madden 25, which is the Green Bay Packers offense, and of course my favorite defensive playbook in all of Madden 25. We're going with the Bills. Here we go. Joe Milton's first career pass as a Viper goes to the first career catch of the rookie tight end out of Oregon, Terrence Ferguson, into the Commander's territory. We bring in the big dog. Carson, steal time, and he punches it in. Opening drive score for the Vegas Vipers. Here we go. That's a little late, but Manor gets on the board in his first NFL game. The Canadian gets his first career touchdown. Oh my God, look, that's every bit of 6'5". Dante Thornton, first career grab. Goal to go. We get into the 6'7" Johnny Wilson, who's an absolute mismatch in the red zone. Oh, let's go, man. Pig slips is where the C4 special originated. And Carson Steele for the brand. He could probably run that as good as anybody in the league. Man, just give it to, this is the cheese play. Just give it to the 6'5" guy. That Marshawn Lattimore stands no chance. That's a wash, Marshawn Lattimore now. And our defense played pretty dog shit, but the offense was good enough to start the season 1-0. But now we're heading this team over to the sim. Probably gonna be pretty rough. So we actually pick up I didn't think we were gonna get a sim win. I thought at least year one, it was a chance. We got the first win out of the way with me helping them out, and then it was gonna be 16 straight losses. We did just beat the Broncos. Now we're not doing pig slips in regards to win a game, win a player. But I also think because of, our starting point, I want to be aggressive in, acquiring talent. I don't just want to sit here and stay with this roster. I want to have a little bit of fun, want to mix and match a little bit. And I think the biggest thing is there's only one player I want in 2026. And I think there's been a lot of people waiting for me to utilize this player. I did a little bit of a sneak peek. There's not a lot of freak athletes that are jumping out the board in round one. However, the most pink slip player in the history of players is Nyck Harbor, and he's available. He's going to be probably a second, third round pick. 6'5", 235, and he probably is going to end up running like a 4.3. He is going to be, he's going to break every scale. He's going to be a 10 RAS player, and he is the perfect player, maybe of all time, for pink slip. So, what this says to me is, that's my guy. 100% I'll be able to get him in the second round. I don't really need a first round pick. So can we find a trade maybe to send our first round pick to get a real big time pink slip player that exists in the league? Yep. Able to get Cooper DeJean from the Philadelphia Eagles for a first round pick. Oh yeah, baby. And also a player that I really wanted from that first draft that I couldn't get. Not loving what I'm getting out of Carson Steele. You know what an improved version of Carson Steele is? Cam Scatabo. 73 rookie, so it's going to cost me our 4th and 5th round pick in this upcoming draft, as well as a future 5th. But for a guy that absolutely can be a franchise running back, I'm not worried about it. So we end up getting 4 wins on the season, which is not brutal. We bring our team up from 68 overall to 72 overall, so that's great growth and development. And that's kind of the good thing about pink slips. For the most part, the team is young, so as long as they have a chance to develop. There's a ceiling there for these guys to grow. Joe Milton, 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, 14 picks. Not a crazy season, not like getting a dev trade or anything like that, but not bad. And honestly, for the state of our roster, and I've seen plenty of quarterbacks finish seasons with more picks than touchdowns, that's going to be considered a win there for Joe Milton in his first year. We got Scatabo. Didn't start for us the first, 3-4 weeks into the season. I imagine if he started the full season, probably at least has double-digit touchdowns, which is a win. Receiving, we just under 1,000 yards, but 13 touchdowns for rookie Alec Manor. That could put him into offensive rookie of the year conversation. It's all almost about here in the AFC. Then the big-name quarterbacks are there. If none, he might have a shot, and that could be a dev trade to bring him up to superstar, which would be gigantic for this team going forward. On the defensive side of the ball, Channing Tindall had over 100 tackles. Our sacks were not crazy, but I mean, for all these guys being sub 70 overall, you take the TFLs and sacks combined, you don't hate it. 13 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, Barno leading the T. Cooper DeJean, Bonner, 2. Hey, look at that, baby. Love seeing that. I did think about going to get Riley Moss from the Denver Broncos, but I don't want to overdo it. Maybe hits free agency, though. We'll kick the tires. And I feel like that's how I'm going to handle this. Usually in Pink Slips, we don't even acknowledge that free agency exists. I think what we do here, and I'm going to establish it right now because we haven't even really had a true free agency period yet. If someone's fun, someone that we would clearly target within the world of win a game, take a player. Those take a players that we would love to get if they hit free agency because we have $200 million of salary cap. Let's go get them. So as far as dev traits are concerned, after the trade for Cooper DeJean, he was the only guy that had a dev trait on this entire roster before the rookie class came in. So that means Yasir Abdullah, who's star, Channing Tindall, who's star, and Owen Papo, who got star on defense, earned their dev traits this season. On the offensive side, both Membu and Ferguson were our only hidden devs from that class. And Ao Manor, actually, sorry, that's a lie. Ao Manor also was a star dev. And after winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, he is now up to a superstar dev. So, knowing how we are going to target the upcoming draft in the second round, Nyck Harbor, he is all mine. Harbor, Ao Manor, Terrence Ferguson. That could be a trio that could eventually be lifting that Lombardi trophy. So for our first free agency period, we're going after Troy Anderson. If you watched any Pink Slips, you know, Troy Anderson. Plus the fact he has a whole lot of interest. But on the offensive line, Evan Neal, also very Pink Slip player. 6'7", 350, has almost 80 acceleration, 76 speed, 91 strength. Also kind of fits like the bus. I mean, let's be honest. Pink Slips, what is it at its core? It's obscure white players, aka white corners, white running backs, anybody that's fast, and there's also an element of draft bust. Because a lot of times, draft bust and being very freakishly athletic kind of goes hand in hand, because that's why they're a bust. They just ended up being an athlete that never technically got it never caught up the technical side, and therefore, never really worked out in the NFL, and that kind of feels like Evan Neal, and that's a great reclamation project if we can get him away from the Atlanta Falcons in day 2 of free agency. Here we go. Luckily enough, Evan Neal knows what's good for him, and he's going to be our starting left tackle next season. So, our first round pick is Cooper DeJean, and at pick 4 in the second round. Just time to make an iconic selection. Might even be able to wait to the third round, but this is our class. This is the number 1 player, 6'5", 235. Nyck Harbor from South Carolina, man that took college football 25 by storm for those that weren't in the know. And then he just plugged in a video game and, holy, what is this thing? We finally get to give him a little run through here in Madden 25. 65 in true value at 36. No dev trait? Are you kidding me? 6'5", 235. We got 93 acceleration, 96 agility, 92 jumping, 96 speed. I'm telling you right now, I'm putting him in the slot. He's going to get the dev trait. He's going to get Offensive Rookie of the Year. I guarantee it. In the third round, we're going to grab the most athletic pass rusher. I was hoping there's a way that maybe Harold Perkins fell to us, but he went just pretty much right after Nyck Harbor did in the second round. So we got Patrick Payton, the Florida State transfer now at LSU. B finesse move, but he had first in the 40-yard dash, 4.5 speed at the position. Not really going to be able to find a much better value pick. And even then, a little bit of reach, 135 in true value at 68, but he does pop with a dev trait. Take as many of those guys as we can get. Now we're going to look at a corner, Keontae Scott, who is first in the 40-yard dash, 3-cone shuttle, 20-yard from the combine. So he is one of the best athletes available. 188 in true value at 164. We're going to finish the draft off in this 7th round with Trey Smack, the kicker from my beloved Florida Gators, 71 in true value, 196. Hidden dev trait with 97 kick power. I like to criticize these draft classes. They're not my draft classes. This guy knows ball. He knows SEC kickers. For our draft recap, Cooper DeJean in the first round, Nyck Harbor 72. Normal dev is kind of rough, but in the third round, Patrick Payton 69 with a dev trait. We get an athletic Scott. We get a great kicker for the long term. It could have been worse. Now, it might have taken a season and a half. We have our first player of the week performance going Cooper DeJean on a 2-pick, 1-pick-6 performance in a loss against the Broncos. But I'll tell you what, this season here in year 2, perfectly fine tanking. This is unbelievable. There's a reason why I was perfectly fine with tanking this season. You see why? That's a pink slip quarterback. Have you seen Arch Manning run a 70-yard touchdown? I sure as shit did, and he's Arch Manning. But I said to myself, you know what? We always keep it a buck. Keep it 100. If I'm going to tank, we need to, earn the tank, right? It'd be fun. I could probably just, admit that we're just going to lose and maybe force a bunch of losses and ensure that we get that first pick. But, our team, I've worked pretty hard to have this roster be dog shit. And then, of course, week 18, we win against the Broncos. And cost ourselves the first overall pick. Now, there's a chance Miami, with Tua still there, would avoid quarterback. But the fact that we couldn't even tank properly, God, it's a pain in the ass. Because I might have to trade a bunch of stuff to get the number 1 pick. Looking at our stats this season, Joe Milton's still going more touchdowns than interceptions, which is, I don't want to say fortunately, unfortunately, whatever you want to break down. The only positive we can talk about with Joe Milton. Still not having, great success running the football. And I think it should slowly start to come. I feel pretty decent about our offensive line going forward. Manor and Nyck Harbor go over 1,000 yards, so that's pretty badass. Terrence Ferguson at tight end was also fairly solid. Defensively, Papo and Tyndall over 100 tackles. We got 7 sacks on 8 TFLs for the hidden dev rookie, Patrick Payton, who we got in the 3rd round. 5.5 sacks for Yasir Abdullah. And Cooper DeJean leads the team with 4 interceptions, 3 from our high pick a year ago in Darian Porter. Unfortunately for Nyck Harbor, a little bit more competition this year, unlike last year with Manor for our Rookie of the Year, a.k.a. give me that dev trait. Not going to get that for Harbor. So a guy that absolutely should have a hidden dev is going to go into year 2, likely with a normal dev trait, which is a bummer. So far as dev traits are concerned, at the end of year number 2, nothing. No movement on the offense. Everyone that had a dev kept their dev. No one gained one. Defensively, I honestly was expecting Cooper DeJean to go up to superstar. Fortunately, no. So the good news for us is if we're trusting the last couple mock drafts, Dylan Stewart, who certainly also would fit pink slip profile. He's 6'6", 260, and I'm pretty sure has 90 speed. He's going 1, which means we should be able to get Arch at 2. And if we don't, I'm breaking my monitor. Luckily, Dylan Stewart does go pick 1, so the number 2 pick in the 2027 class. I appreciate everything that Joe Milton has done, but it is time to welcome a new franchise quarterback into our pink slips. Madden 25, realistic rebuild. And that is a man who might be the most hyped. There's a chance, maybe not for on-field. On-field, it's going to be pretty tough to beat Andrew Luck. To a lesser degree, your Trevor Lawrence's and such. But I don't know if there's going to be a more hyped quarterback coming out of college than Arch Manning. Whenever that happens, be it 2026, 2027, 2028, who knows? That's dude right there. Now in the 2nd round, hear me out. So we have Samson Okunlola from Miami. Apparently an illegal last name. But anytime you're giving me a 6'6", 310 tackle that ran a 4'8", I'm going to Evan Neal at left tackle. This guy's going to be our new left tackle. What we're going to do with Evan Neal is we're going to pull Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton, franchise tackle, the big ticket for the Jets. Went to Philadelphia, moved inside to guard. Very similar body type, Mekhi Becton to Evan Neal. Evan Neal clearly hasn't worked out a tackle. We're going to try him at guard. And we're going to go with this freak of nature at left tackle. 26 in true value at 34. 86 acceleration, 76 speed with a depth trait. Let's go. Him and Membu give us the most athletic tackle pairing in the league. 3rd round, we're going to stick with the U. Get an athletic D tackle here. Justin Scott, 6'4", was 310, A finesse, B block shed, and he has elite agility, good acceleration, great speed, all the things we like to look for in a picks a player. 105 in true value at 66, but he does pop a depth trait, 80 acceleration, 77 speed, 85 strength. Yep, that will do. Next up in the 4th round, we have Grayson Howard from Florida as A tackle, but that's not why we're liking him. He has elite speed, elite acceleration. It is kind of weird, and almost memeing myself in my content, that I'm not really drafting that much different than I would have if this was a complete Madden generated class, but it's working out. Grayson Howard from Florida, 48 true value at number 98, and he has a dev trait on top of being 6'4", 245 with 91 acceleration and 89 speed. This one just fell into our lap. He was BPA Tyler Brown from Clemson, 160 at 162, fastest 40, only 4.3 speed remaining player on the board, and he's also dev trait. So I know a lot of people use these classes as well, and you get some spoilers here for some athletic guys with dev traits. But Nyck Harbor couldn't pull a dev trait? So our final draft class ends up being a studly one. Arch Manning, 76 dev trait. Samson Okinola, 74 dev trait. Justin Scott, 70 dev trait. Grayson Howard, 73 dev trait. Tyler Brown, 68 with a dev trait. And we finish with a 69 punter with 95 kick power in Will Carroll. This is honestly, memes aside, I mean, we did have a high pick as well, but this is probably, for a kind of not super serious rebuild by any means, my easily best draft class I've had using these 2027 classes. Hey, that's how you got to do it. Draft the athletes in 2027. So here's a look at our team going into year 3, and I don't want to say it's the cheat code or the missing piece, but it is going to be the missing piece. It's what's going to help this team pick up the pace is landing an Arch Manning. I don't recall if it's like Superstar or X Factor, but there's 0% chance that it's a star def. So we have essentially a 79 Superstar and or X Factor quarterback that is likely going to take this team to the next level. I think Scadabo, Ayo Minor, Nyck Harbor, and Ferguson all, honestly, and you even pair that with Membu's an 80, Tate Ratledge, who's an 81, Okalola, who's very high ceiling of a tackle. I think you got guys here, put me back on screen, that are going to be long-term fixtures. These guys here are, you look at the missing pieces. How many more pieces do we need before we start thinking like, yeah, we're going to be an above 500 team. Yeah, we're going to compete for the playoffs. You look like we need a center. Other than that, like every single season, all of these other guys are going to be just elevating their game that much more while on their rookie contract. Defensively, this has been probably the hardest part. Like as we sim through, we've had a lot of losses that are like 40, 50 points allowed. But I think Scott, I think Peyton, obviously Cooper DeJean, Porter's an 81. Probably need some safety help, but the linebackers have developed nicely. Like we're a couple missing pieces away defensively. Have yet to have really staggering numbers from like a TFL and or sack standpoint, but maybe Peyton could develop into that guy. I think that's what we're going to need to show some TLC. Now that we're getting to the Madden generated classes, you can draft DBs relatively easy. You can also draft D linemen relatively easy. Edge rushers, sure. We need to have a high pick, need to have a top 10 pick. So that's kind of the only positive. If we are underwhelming this year, is that we could position ourselves to be in a great spot to get a game changer of a pass rusher in next year's draft. The first time we're really going to look at contracts as our rookie class. So the guys from that rookie class are coming to contract. I think Johnny Wilson's still a unique body type. Like to keep on the roster, 2-year deal, lock him in. It is time we'll let Joe Milton go in the wild. I could hold him hostage. I could try to trade him. I'm going to appreciate his service and let him choose where he wants to go. By the inverse of that, Cooper DeJean, 5-year, $77 million deal, easy money. At the end of year 1 of the Arch Manning era, look at the offense. Top 10 points, top 10 passing yards. Our team overall is, well, it only took us a couple years to get out of the 60s. We are now, from a roster standpoint, like probably closer to a top 10 roster than we would be a bottom 10 roster, which is pretty good. Looking at the stats, Arch Manning, first year in the NFL, 4,300 yards, 38 touchdowns to 12 picks. Interceptions, maybe a little bit high, but we knew that he was going to be special. And how special? Well, he's a superstar X Factor, and he's ending his rookie season as an 88 overall. Likely will be Offensive Rookie of the Year, which will be even more upgrades, but an undeniable talent, undeniably playing well, is not necessarily shocking. We got just under 1,000. Oh, it'll be sick. The first year we get Scatto go over 1,000 will be cool. 12 touchdowns is pretty badass. We have Nyck Harbor, cheat code in the slot. 6'5", 235. Actually, his archetype, his best archetype right now it passed over, man. He was a slot. He was drafted as a slot, so it's not necessarily foreign territory for him to be in that position, but like 19 touchdowns. We get 1,009 from Ayo Minor. Johnny Wilson was great, but I mean, just look at that. How you dealing with 6'7", 230, 6'5", 235, 6'2", 210. We got 6'5", 255, 6'5", 213. Pretty scary team. Built like a basketball team. Grayson Howard, the rookie linebacker, he really took over as the leader of this defense. 125 tackles, 11 TFLs for the Hidden Devon. He ends his campaign as an 81 overall. And much like Arch Manning, expectation, Grayson Howard could very well be Defensive Rookie of the Year, which could be a dev trade increase as well as some overall points. Our pass rush is still a work in progress. Patrick Payton was solid. Yasir Abdullah was solid. Picks 4 for Cooper DeJean. But I still think at the end of the season, going towards the draft, we need to be aggressive in trying to find another pass rusher to put on the other side of Patrick Payton. That's what we're missing, is a double-digit guy. I don't know if that exists on our roster right now. And we get both Offensive Rookie of the Year going to Arch Manning and Defensive Rookie of the Year going to Grayson Howard. While we're at it, Nyck Harbor, putting it all together sooner rather than later, gets Wide Receiver of the Year in the AFC. So for our team at season's end, as far as dev traits are concerned, we get Nyck Harbor for winning Wide Receiver of the Year off normal dev. He is up to a star. Okunlola at tackle was hidden dev. He is a star as well. But you got to think, man, honestly, if we can grab a center at some point in this draft, first couple rounds, first 4 rounds, there's not a lot of weaknesses on that offense. Now knowing, too, that with Arch Manning at the helm, he's maximizing our skill position players. On the defensive side of the ball, Howard was a star, gets Defensive Rookie of the Year, and becomes a superstar. So it's nice to start accumulating talent there. But still, biggest question for this team going to the offseason is, can we find a premier pass rusher, either in free agency, that fits our pick slips kind of mission statement of this franchise, or can we find one in the draft? Ooh. Can't do that. I can't do that to Scatterbo. But there is a running back, the most pink slippy running back in the NFL right now would be Jahmyr Gibbs, who's pretty much head and shoulders above any of the premier backs as far as speed is concerned. I will say, maybe if there was interest, and I wouldn't have to give him likely a very player-friendly contract offer. There's 15 teams interested in him. I would be interested, but the fact that I'd have to severely overpay for a running back when I have a running back we already like, can't do it. All right, I've put very competitive offers on 2 players that fit our identity. We have the fastest 40-yard dash time. We're currently the top bid, and we have been bouncing between 1 and 3 on Nolan Smith as a 90 speed, 92 acceleration pass rusher. Very competitive offers on both. I can live with if we get them or not. I think we get none. My gut says none. Oh, we get both. Let's go. So there's good and bad news. 2028 draft, we earned the number 6 pick. The bad news is all the players I like are not top 10 selections. My favorite picks, we need center, right? And we also kind of want athletes, continue to kind of build the team with that identity. With the addition of Nolan Smith, we don't really need edge rush. We need D tackles. And looking at the D tackles that are available, Mr. Campbell stands out, but he's a first, second rounder. 6'2", 304, elites and everything. You like that guy there. Absolute steal. Maybe we reach for him a little bit. There's also the nose tackle, Kemp, who has 8 tackle, but look at his acceleration. Elite acceleration. What's more pink slip than likely a 350-pounder with like 90 acceleration? But, I mean, the value's not there. Campbell's not even projected to be a first-round pick. Other big need is safety. I think we need 2 starting safeties. But you look at the guys that are, like, legitimate first-rounders. We're not getting, we have no idea if that's B-man, B-zone, which is kind of like the little tell that you would love. And then you look at Matt McManus, we just have B-zone. And from an athletic standpoint, you're like, okay, the letter grades look pretty good. He's just a decent athlete. So I kind of hate the value. I think this is truly a situation where if we could trade back, get a future first, and still not pick super late, like a 2028 first and a 2029 first. That is what we're looking for. Ooh, pick 29 with the Bills. See, that's pushing it a little bit. I like something, in the teens, early 20s. So 2028, come on, baby. Teens, early 20s. Give me 2 firsts. 24. Okay, that one there's leading with the Patriots. I think I can do it 24. 25, no. All right, congratulations, New England Patriots. You've got to be you can't script this any better. Campbell, the D tackle at 23. You have got to be shitting me. I mean, at least that decides that we're going to go with the 350-pound nose tackle that has freaking... Oh... Oh, we need safety help. What's Gilliard look like? Is he a little bit better athlete? A little bit. Not much. I guess we'll go Gilliard. We need 2 safeties, so. We got depth trade. All right, I'm about to shit on this pick. 43 in true value at 24. At least we got a depth trade safety. And honestly, McManus, the other safety, the other legit first round. I think we just take these 2 safeties. Hopefully that the value's there, 35 and 38. Both of them have depth traits, even though they're not like freak of nature safeties. I rarely have found like safeties that have both like 90s plus speed, 90 plus acceleration. They're very rare. Ain't mad at that. And we get the perfect roll. The top D tackles, the one that we really wanted. In the 4th round, Marcus Kemp. 350, A tackle, elite acceleration. This guy is going to be a monster. And a compliment to Scott. He's a little bit of an undersized pass rusher. This guy here, the run stopper, top 50 talent at 70. And of course, he has a depth trait, 87 acceleration at 350 pounds. Need a center. Don't love the fact that this guy has no letter grades. Love the fact that from an athletic standpoint, elite agility, great acceleration. So from an athletic standpoint, he's a mover. And he ends up being top 20 with a depth trait, 83 acceleration, 84 strength, day 1 starter. All right, so take a look at our draft recap. No, like, blue chip guys, but the fact that we needed 2 new safeties, and we've got the best 2 safeties at their position, just based off of big board. 73 depth trait for Gilliard, 74 depth trait for Matt McManus. We got that freaking nature 350-pounder with a depth trait. We get a top 20 player in the 4th round at our biggest position need on offense in Tiller. Ain't bad at that one bit. Pair that with last year's class getting the franchise and Arch Manning. This is going to be a quick turnaround. So in mid-season, look at the rankings. Top 10 offense, defense. Number 1. What? I get it, the offense was number 1 because we have maybe the best quarterback. Like if you're picking right now one quarterback to start your franchise, it's probably our X Factor Arch Manning. But our defense was dog shit last year. And it is, I mean, it's still early. We've yet to have our bye, so once we go the next week, actually, let's do that right now. I will just want to highlight that we beat the Saints. Personal game for Arch Manning. We went for 5 touchdowns. And the week before, we had Justin Scott at D tackle, who we said it might free up things. Because now we have Kemp, the 350-pounder, to handle the run. You can kind of unleash Scott now as more of an interior pass rusher. Hat trick of sacks. So we are playing outstanding football. But to maybe get a true idea of like where we're at, let's sim past the bye, which will adjust all of our season rankings. I mean, we're still probably top 10 in both. Look at that. Still have the number 1 defense. Our yards kind of fell off a little bit. That's just because of the bye week. Not too worried about it, man. Awesome where we're at here in year 4. Look at contracts. We have Ao Manor. I mean, the good thing is like we can just be throwing around money until it's time to pay Arch Manning. So I'd like to keep all these guys that were part of that first class. We will come back for Ao Manor. We have Membu at tackle. We're going to go player friendly. Should be able to get that one across the line. It is a lot of money we are throwing around. We have Porter at corner. Let's give him a 3-year, $20 million. That's very affordable, very reasonable for a guy that maybe still hasn't even played his best football. Tyndall. I don't hate that 2-year deal. Maybe give him a little bit more. We have Scatabo. I'm down to just commit with him as our franchise running back for the video because we're going to be a pass-heavy offense anyways. So I'm looking at that. We have Evan Neal. Maybe give him a 3-year deal. Kind of keep that success story, making the transition following along the lines of our boy, Mekhi Becton. We have Tate Ratledge from that first class 4-year. Probably another $1 million or $2 bucks. Should get that one across the line. And I don't think we're too far away on our 3 remaining targets that we want to bring back. And we should still be able to get these 3 guys back and have over $100 million of salary cap. So the end of year 4, our first sniff at the playoffs. We go 10-7. Unfortunately, our rankings kind of Leveled out a little bit would be probably fair to say, but look at that defense. 3rd overall defense in the league. And I think it's only a matter of time do we see Arch Manning, kind of top 5 in both categories. But 42 touchdowns, single-digit interceptions, his sophomore campaign, worried about the sophomore slump. He put that to bed with an outstanding performance. We got over 1,000 yards from Scatabo. Happy. We got him the new contract extension. 1,400 yards, 20 touchdowns for Nyck Harbor. 1,100 yards for Xavier Worley. Just under 900 for Ayo Manor. 4, but 7 touchdowns for Terrence Ferguson. So, really, all these guys are eating. Johnny Wilson's probably the only guy on the outside looking in. No 100 tackler, which kind of sucks. But look at this. Out of nowhere, Justin Scott, the D tackle with 16 sacks from an interior pass rusher. Peyton with 9, 8.5 from Nolan Smith. Ain't mad at that. Now on the picks front, Porter got himself a new contract, led the team with 3 interceptions. The safety Gilliard, the rookie, with 2 picks on 80 tackles. Not bad. As well as 7 PBUs like that. I'm happy with my draft, but I'm also very annoyed that the D tackle that I wanted all along also goes ahead and wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. So in our team's first taste of the playoffs, we get the 10-7 Buffalo Bills, who are very good. Very, very good. They're led by Josh Allen, a top 10 offense, number 2 passing yards, top 10 defense. This is going to be a tough out probably, but when you have almost a 90 overall offense, you can beat anybody on the right day, and we do that. 24-21. The first taste of playoff victory for the Vegas Vipers, an overtime win over Buffalo. He has the clutch gene. 2 interceptions forced on Josh Allen likely was the deciding factor. Scatabo the touchdown, Worthy and Harbor getting in the end zone. Defensively, DeJean leads the team in tackles. We get 2 sacks by Patrick Payton and a pick for Porter and the rookie Gilliard. You love seeing that complimentary football. We're going any further playoff. Actually, now we're talking about Gilliard and all these guys. We had some rookies with dev traits. Tiller, star. Okay, can live with that. Defensively, both our safeties. McManus with a superstar and Kemp with a superstar. Boom, baby. So we got our playoff win. Our draft was S tier. We're playing with house money at this point in the division round against Justin Herbert and the 10-7 Chargers, who are led by their defense. Number 2 overall. Harbaugh went on and got his boy Kenneth Grant from Michigan. Absolute game changer, pulling that defense together. Who'd have thought, moving on from Khalil Mack. At this point, he's retired. Shit. They were very good. Moving on from Bosa. And that's a tough out. Harbaugh gets those guys playing. No one's going to want to play the Chargers. And that is low scoring, man. Not much going on. And I tell you right now, the Chargers, they know how to win ugly. But this does, and it probably is going to feel like one of those games, man, where, I bet, there's just not much. Maybe that's the difference. Arch Manning, inexperienced, throws the pick. Deciding factor. That's all it takes. Well, that season as we cleared our lockers. Good news, Nyck Harbor up to a superstar dev. On the defensive side, there's breaking even type news. Kemp, who was superstar out the box, loses his dev trait harshly as a rookie, but Scott, with his 16-sack breakout campaign, makes the jump from star up to superstar. So I guess all things are equal. Even though, no, they're not. We should have 2 superstar D tackles right now. Now I'm about to do something stupid, man. We're just starting to get good, right? We handled business enough so that we have 2 first-round picks this year. We currently have picks 16 and 25. Oh, baby. Hit 2 of those picks. We need a linebacker. We could always add a little bit more depth. BPA with one of those selections. Laughing. There's a running back, Christopher Barnes, going 3rd. He's gone 2nd, 3rd. He's been 1st overall for trusting this mock draft. He is, and this is, we set the tone by trading our first-round pick for Cooper DeJean early of what this video is. 6'1", 235 pounds. But he's an elusive back. I was like, what? And then when you look at the physicals, 235, runs a 4.3, 37-inch vert, elite broad jump, 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle are absolutely insane. This might be the greatest running back I've seen in Madden. And he's pink slips. He's mine. I'm giving all my pick. I love Scatabo. Maybe we'll put him at fullback. We have to get this guy. I just have to. at whatever price. I'm very surprised I was able to get out of that with only giving up an additional second. I thought it was going to be 3 firsts and maybe like a third. The fact that the Dolphins, for pick 1, I'm not even messing around and waiting for the mock draft. I'm giving 2 first-round picks and our second-round pick next year for a running back, which is... But that guy, I would be shocked if this guy's not 80. He's going to be generational. It's just, what is he going to be? 83, 82, 84, 85? He's the craziest, maybe generated player I think I've seen. Because I've seen crazy running backs, right? I don't think I've seen a running back that's that fast and 235. Like, he's probably one of the heaviest starting running backs in the league when we make this pick. I don't know, man. If he's normal dev, that'll be hilarious. There's no way. This guy is a cheat code. Now, who says running backs are dead? What's Saquon? He's pretty much Saquon? I guess at the end of the day, Saquon's like 233. But Saquon wasn't running 4.30 flat. Now, and we showed last year with Scatterbo that this team can facilitate a 1,000-yard rusher. And Barnes is, okay, yeah, number 1 in true value at pick 1. Dev trade. 6'1", 235, 97 acceleration, 92 agility, 93 change of direction, 95. Jesus Christ, man. What else do we have? A ball carry vision, B carry, A juke, A spin, A stiff arm. I'm going to say 80. I'll take the split. I think he's going to be an 84. Which is still, that's one of my highest draft picks yet. For like a non-punter. Because you can sometimes get that 86 punter. We need a linebacker. We got an athlete, DeAndre Bynes at A&M. A tackle, A zone coverage. Got the elites. 4.44 at his pro day. That'll do. All right, let's get the hell out of this, man. Board got shot after that. I want to see this running back. I want to see that linebacker too, to be honest with you. What? 80? That's the highest rated player. Holy shit, dude. 88 overall. I haven't even seen that on Reddit. And we get to pair that with Arch Manning and Nick Harbor. Holy shit, man. Have you seen any hard 88? I've never seen 90. Like, we're pushing 90. He's 89 with the temporary boost. If I am nitpicking, kind of low ball carrier vision and trucking. But there you go. The GOAT. The GOAT pick that I've made, and that is the highest rated player probably I've drafted the last 5 Maddens. So I had to get this guy going training camp. I honestly, like game breaking. I have not seen a player like, what I picture in my mind, like just gigantic fast play. I think of Anthony Richardson. If you've ever used Anthony Richardson in Madden, he's like one of those guys, it's just awkward. Like, he doesn't have a good running style, even though the speed, like, it just looks weird. This guy here literally feels like he's like 170 pound. Like, the animations, the moves, how quickly he runs, his running style. Like, he is the perfect weapon. He is the greatest running back prospect, maybe of all time. And I hope that, like, our offense is like a juggernaut. I want to see him have 1,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and Arch Manning go for 50. That's what I want to see. Our midseason just got an upgrade point for Barnes. Just found out his dev trade. It is Superstar X Factor. You got first one free spin cycle closer. I mean, we'll at least take return man off. Give him something a little more exciting. But man, oh man. Yep. That's scary. So we're 6-3 right now, sitting in a good spot. I mean, we are on a 2-game lose streak, which sucks. We need to snap out of it here at midseason. But for the most part, happy, very happy with where we're at. But time is coming. The Arch Manning extension, we want to win before it comes time to pay that. So looking at our contracts, we've kind of outgrown some of the initial starters, which does happen. We'll get Patrick Payton on a 2-year deal. He's been solid. Nyck Harbor needs to get paid. We'll see if we can get him on a 5-year, 185. Probably 188, 187 can get that done. He's not going nowhere. Oh my God, I just had to do it once. I had to see at least once what this guy feels like on the sticks. Oh. Oh, man. Sick. Can we go 90-some yards here next run? All right. I'm not going to break records with him. Just have a little bit of just... Oh, man. Why? This is one of those ones where, like, just... We're probably going to win the Super Bowl, I'd say, within the next... I mean, our target is before we got to pay Arch Manning. But, man, to see a full career of all these guys together, nuts. Not all good news. Nyck Harbor's hitting us with the please franchise tag me. That's what he's hitting us with. Okay. Play hardball. So the end of year 4, we go 12-5 with a juggernaut 93 overall offense. However, I mean, we are Green Bay. They are a offense that can run the football, and that's exactly what we did. Arch Manning took a little bit of a step back. Maybe that's why Nyck Harbor said, look at that. Barnes leads the league in rushing. 1,600 yards. 15 touchdowns as a rookie. Arch Manning, not a bad year, not a great year. 33 touchdowns, 4 picks. Never going to be upset about that. Insane, though. Absolutely insane from Barnes. Like, that's the difference. We were, like, excited the 1 year Scat here went over, maybe that's not call him Scat. Scatabo went over 1,000 yards, and then Barnes as a rookie. Now, he's a different animal, different type of species, honestly, but just goes to show. And only one fumble, had a long of a 95. That was the one I think we hit, 95. So, I mean, even if you take what we did, take 2 touchdowns off and like 150 yards, still maybe the best sim numbers I've seen out of a rookie running back. 1,200 yards, 17 touchdowns from Harbor, just under 1,000 for Xavier Worthy, A. Menor, good numbers. Defensively, Grayson Howard over 100 tackles. We got 10 sacks. Nolan Smith, 8.5. Marcus kept the nose tackle. I don't think a guy with 350 pounds has ever got over like 7 sacks. 7.5 from Peyton, 7 from Justice Scott. Happy with those numbers across the board. Not really happy with those interceptions. We got playmakers back there. They're not really showing it. Christopher Barnes runs away with Offensive Rookie of the Year award, as well as Running Back of the Year. And the first round of the playoffs, we get the 10-7 New England Patriots. Drake May, they got Brock Bowers, so we did obviously take over the Vegas Raiders and let their roster kind of go into free agency and let it sort itself out. And, I mean, that's a hell of a duo. Drake May, Brock Bowers, so we got to figure out a way to stop. Honestly, they got to figure out a way to stop us. Our offense is, that's what I need to see. That's what I was expecting to see. 37-3. We let them puppies roar. The 2 seed demolishes. We got 3 touchdowns, a pick out of Arch Manning, running the football. Barnes, 87 yards and a touchdown. I mean, hell, that is, just imagine that as a 1-2 punch. Nyck Harbor over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, we got a sack from Kemp, 2 picks, Porter and Howard. Who's stopping us? I mean, seeing that we're playing the 10-7 Jags, I don't know. Now, they are the number 1 rush defense. That could get maybe a little awkward. But, to a man, not worried. Menor and Kemp also get a little bit of upgrade. They're going to be playing their best football. I think the Chiefs are probably the only team that can stop us. They are in the other AFC game, but we might be able to get through this run without having to play them. Hey, let's go! 24-20, and the Jets beat the Chiefs for us, so we don't have to deal with Jets. Actually, like, maybe that's almost concerning. They kicked the shit out of the Chiefs. So maybe be a little bit scared about the Jets. 24-20 for the Vipers. Hat trick of touchdowns for Arch Manning. No picks. Barnes was solid. Barnes was more than solid. 870 on the ground. 87 and a touchdown through the air. What a machine, dude. 2 sacks, Patrick Payton. I mean, are the Jets stopping us? I mean, maybe. What make them so good? Got Shador. Breece Hall, Shador Sanders, Matthew Golden is unstoppable, apparently. I mean, they still got, that's who they got. Darren Campbell and Quinnen Williams in the inside. The D tackle that got away from us. Okay. I mean, I'll be very disappointed. Like, if we lose, make it at least a shootout where it's like, all right, they just able to outlast us. Don't have our offense. Just, you know, hey, it's annoying. They just eliminate the run game. And Campbell, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, I get it. I wanted you. And you went a pick before us. And now you're probably going to win a Super Bowl before us. At least the good news is Campbell did not win. But the bad news is that our offseason is going to start by franchise tagging Nyck Harbor and putting an immense amount of pressure to win next season. Because if not, our salary cap's about to go to shit. So as we close out the season from a dev trait standpoint, Nyck Harbor is up to an X factor, so the big three are huge. Defensively, Nolan Smith goes from superstar up to an X factor. Bynes, our hidden dev linebacker, just star. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, we're not losing anything. We are going to franchise tag Nyck Harbor, and we're going to run it back and hopefully not choke. All right, so we're going to start the offseason, decline the fifth-year option on Arch Manning. Ooh, we actually have one more chance on Nyck Harbor. So the last offer, we gave him 5-year, 192. I think we round this up. See if we can get that long-term extension. 5-year, 195, if not franchise tag City. Hey, he's happy to be here. I'm happy to have him. To go to the draft, I don't know what we need. Like, honestly, the only thing we need to do is draft a quarterback in case Arch Manning goes, I'm out. His contract's going to be $500 million. Like, we're good everywhere there. Defense across the board. I mean, could use a third corner, I guess. Third corner would be the maybe. I'm still shocked I was able to get into, the position to draft Barnes running back last year without giving up our first round pick this year. I had to only give up our second. But in the first round, I picked 30. I think we're going to be able to find a corner. What do we got here? Tim Ware. We got Reeves. What do we got we got B-Man. Okay, double B's on both these guys. Who's a better athlete? That'll be our tiebreaker. B's across the board for Tim Ware. East Carolina. 4.38. Okay, it's going to be pretty tough to beat that. I think we have our guy. Kenny Reeves out of Central Florida. 1A, 3 B's. And he's elites. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's our pick. Sometime, I mean, I don't know. Again, it's one of those things when people say that it's like, how do you draft so good? I get that I do this a lot, that it's like kind of muscle memory, but like also like, if I didn't know much about football, if I didn't know much even about like what I needed to look for, right? Like just seeing like a guy, it's like, oh, he has really good A. The letter grades are pretty good. B's pretty good. B's way better than F. That guy has a lot of B's and an A. And then when you go look, he's like, oh, he's elite in all these things. That's the highest it gets. I'm pretty sure my 7-year-old could draft like this. I would say the only bummer is I wasn't able to find a interesting quarterback option. Sometimes you could find late, like an elite throw power guy that could be something. There wasn't much there, but we needed a corner first and foremost as far as like who can contribute to help us in year 5 to get over the hump. And we get Kenny Reeves, who's going to walk into that corner 3 position and likely thrive. I really got to see, like, is there, like, I usually, very rarely, don't look at, like, the all-around just to see. Like, if that 88 running back was somewhere else, I still wouldn't want to show that in the video because that's super interesting. I've never seen it. So now I'm going to be, like, extra because I got one to see, like, is there, like, 90? Is it possible to have a 90 overall rookie? Maybe. Even through all the drafts that I've done, I've never seen 88, so maybe there is 89. Maybe there is 90 plus. All right, so here we go into year number 5 with our 95 overall offense. This offense stacks up against any other offense we've built in any other rebuild so far in Madden 25, led by Arch Manning, Barnes, Harbor, Ayuma, Norrick, Xavier Ware. I mean, the pink slip method has just given us a borderline generational offense with a defense littered with playmakers. Cooper DeJean, Nolan Smith. We got a couple superstars over here. I honestly, if we don't win, I'm going to assume it's our defense kind of screws the pooch here a little bit. But, I mean, a 95 overall offense, we need to be winning this. We need to be cashing out before it's time to pay Arch Manning $1 trillion. Head at midseason, not one team has stood a chance. We beat the Chiefs in the sim. We beat the Jets in the sim. I mean, Those would probably be the two toughest teams that we've seen in this rebuild in the AFC. And I mean, it's regular season, it's a different beast, but unless Arch Manning's really going to fall along the lines of Peyton, where it just takes forever to get that postseason success, this season's off to an incredible start. Here's the bad news. That might be the biggest contract I've ever seen. We have $50 million of cap. It is $70 million. Like, who could pay that? So, Scott, Howard, all these guys, we got to pay the quarterback somehow, some way, even if it's franchise tag him for a year. That's a game-breaking contract. Like, there's no way. There's 0% of teams could do that. There we go. We finished year 5, 14-3, the 1 seed first round bye for the Vegas Vipers. Number 1 offense. That's a little bit low, to be honest with you. I've seen plenty of times I have over 30 points per game. 27 to still be number 1. Very surprising. Passing yards, not the best. Number 1 defense. I mean, maybe there's an argument to be made that we don't need to pay Arch, but we got it. And there is a sinister, sick, disgusting side of me that's like, if we don't win, I actually kind of wonder how we can make this all work. It's a fun challenge. But also, I'm not going to self-sabotage. This is a team that's more than good enough to go seal the deal, get a Super Bowl. 40 touchdowns, Arch Manning. Christopher Barnes, almost 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. We got 11 and 16 from Nyck Harburg. Xavier Worley just under 1,000, but double-digit touchdowns. A.M. Minor was solid. Defensively, Howard led the team over 100 tackles. 12 sacks, Patrick Payton. 10 from Kemp, 8 from Scott. That's a little disappointing to see Nolan Smith after giving him his big payday to have only that amount. Digine with 6 interceptions. Reeves, the rookie, with 5. What's the dev trade on Reeves? Just a star, but right now that is probably front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year, which should be a dev trade increase. And it is. Kenny Reeves gets Defensive Rookie of the Year. And we also have Christopher Barnes getting back-to-back Running Back of the Year awards. He knows nothing else since being a pro. So in the first round of the playoffs, we get the 10-7 Houston Texans. Not bad, man. 88s across the board is a really, really good team. Top 5 in passing yards. And D'Amico Ryans has, led by Will Anderson Jr. Those guys playing very good defense. One of the best defenses in the league. I was kind of hoping when we'd upgrade a players, there was starters. But again, we are the best team in the league. That doesn't always amount to a Super Bowl, but I'm very optimistic. Now in the AFC Championship game, we handle business. Never was really worried, but then also I hit my break, got a quick hairpin trigger right now that if we lose, I'm going to lose my mind. Because this one wasn't really as much as I think our offense with those playmakers, we shouldn't be having going to overtime in the first round of the playoff type performances. Even against a good team. Looking at that, Arch Manning, modest game. Under 250 yards, only 1 touchdown. I guess he didn't hurt us. And when you have Scatabo for some reason, look at that rushing attack. Okay, sure. Grayson Howard, 16 tackles, sack and a half. Justin Scott. Keontae Scott. Just role players making plays. I was just wondering, man, no Chiefs? No Ravens? Oh, did you see the Bengals go on runs? It's the Patriots. That Brock Bowers, Drake May combo. Lethal. I mean, I actually almost wonder, like, okay, like Christian Gonzalez on top. Let's look at the roster. What are the Patriots? Because they were good last year as well. And the fact that they are absolutely like a rebuild-ish team. For them to be this good, I'm curious. Always curious to see, like, what kind of... Usually means a couple free agents. And technically, Brock Bowers would be a free agent. Wow. They gave up on Drake May, and they have this guy, Peter Urban. With bazooka. How does he have bazooka with 91 throw power? Dylan Sampson. Haven't really, invested crazily at wide receiver. Barry and Brown and Jaden Higgins do the job. Brock Bowers. Offensive line, they got Creed Humphrey in free agency. Got the Josh Connor. They got Shamar Stewart. But we were strongly... So they've been aggressive in free agency. They got Brock Bowers. Ali McNeil's always like the most expensive D tackle you can get. And they've you got Jalen Johnson at corner from the Bears. So they've kind of bought their way to this success. And there's no way we should let a team, we'll auto upgrade our players, so I'm a little worried. that botch and mishandle the quarterback situation like that. Just the disrespect to Drake May. So we'll have Arch Manning, Scatabo on the offense. Our feared 1-2 punch in the backfield. Hosting the Patriots, Super Bowl on the line here in year 5 of this minimum of 5, maximum of 10-year rebuild. I was just we fucking lost. Did we lose? No, we did not. Arch Manning. I mean, again, I would say that's kind of the bummer. Is somehow, first of all, how is Joe Burrow on the Panthers? What is going on here with these trades? But not once in these playoff games has Arch Manning, like, put the team on his back, though. It's all kind of, I mean, that's still an impressive effort. 35-14, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's not hurting the team. And just hand the football off, I guess, to this rushing attack. Everyone knows good run game is what can take over in the playoffs. Howard's been a tackle machine. Our pass rush, I love seeing Nolan Smith, who's not had a great year, have a stellar performance, probably a player of the game type performance. And the Vipers in year 5 are headed to the Super Bowl. The matchup has been set. The 12-5 Joe Burrow led Panthers. Number 2 in points, number 1 in pass yards. But look at that defense. They shouldn't be that close. They didn't even made a move for Joe Burrow. Like, what else have they done? Again, I mean, I'd also make, like, again, just weird, very weird quarterback decision-making here. Like something that was back-of-the-box feature for Madden franchise. But I haven't seen a lot of it. There's not too many people that have played more franchise than me. And generally speaking, the quarterbacks, because I was plaguing franchise mode not even that long ago, recent memory, where just teams would draft quarterbacks into terrible situations and terrible misuse of draft picks. It's generally been really good, but seeing it twice in the same rebuild is kind of bizarre. Like I mean, they got a really interesting roster here. Jermaine Matthews, corner at Ohio State, 93 X factor. Not a lot of weaknesses if you're trying to pick holes on where we can beat this Panthers team, but I think end of the day, it's how do they stop us, not how do we score on them. All right, let's go. In a Super Bowl of an offense that I probably will never be able to make as good again against the real Slim Shady Joe Burrow, who has somehow found his way on the Carolina Panthers. We need Arch Manning to not be Peyton. He needs to be Eli. You could be Peyton in the regular season, Eli Manning in the postseason. And I'm not loving the fact that my defense is not inspiring a lot of confidence, but we tie this up 14-14. Everything to play for the second half. Opening drive touchdown for the Vipers. Defense gets a stop. And this game is going to come down to the wire. Fourth quarter tied at 21. Big drive here. Touchdown Vipers. 2 minutes to go. They're going for it on 4th down, and they don't get it. So that means for us to have a little fun here. This game's pretty much over. We'll be able to knee it out. I think we got to, bizarre in a rebuild where I get Nyck, Harbor, and Arch Manning. He's like, can we get the running back involved here? Can he make a play? Oh, come on. You just know that guy's a juggernaut. And you know what? We'll get a little of everyone featured here. Then we'll get Nyck Harbor top of the screen. Let's get a slam dunk splash. Boom. Safety has no idea what to do. He's like, oh, geez, a 6'5", 240-pound generational athlete, run it at me. And there we go, man. We earned it. We built an unstoppable offense. And an unstoppable offense is what was on showcase right there. Joe Burrow, no chance. Again, another just punishing, much like the Patriots, a team with terrible roster management, terrible decisions. They shouldn't be winning a Super Bowl. These teams should not be failing upwards. We need to reward drafting the way that we drafted, aggressive when we got aggressive, trading picks when we traded picks, signing free agents that fit the pig slips mantra, and getting the Super Bowl right there. Absolutely earned it. We're the best. We're the best. We earned it. Let's wrap this thing up. As we wrap up this rebuild, Arch Manning in his career to date, over 16,000 yards passing, 153 touchdowns, only 30 picks. Pretty good. Thought maybe year 1 interceptions were a little high, even though the touchdowns were great. And basing off of what Joe Milton did in this offense, I thought there was a chance. There was going to be a lot more turnovers than what we ended up having with Arch Manning. So the fact that he kind of reined it in, and he's an X factor and became a 99. Not shocked. Cam Scatabo was awesome, but greatest draft pick in channel history. Question mark. Christopher Barnes, an absolute. I'm saving this franchise. I'm not going to delete it. maybe we'll come back to at some point, because I think we're just scratching the surface on what could be maybe the most insane team we've ever built. From a receiving standpoint, obviously Xavier really splitting time between us and the Chiefs, but look at that. Nyck Harbor in 4 seasons, 6,300 yards and 81 touchdowns. Ayo Manor was awesome. Terrence Ferguson was awesome. Defensively, Darian Porter ends up leading the team, leading the rebuild, which is cool considering he was a draft pick of ours. Also had 13 picks, 51 sacks for Nolan Smith, splitting that between us and the Eagles. 42 sacks for Patrick Payton, 33 for Justin Scott. But 16 sacks that he had a couple years ago as a D tackle. That is up there with the most I've seen. And then out of nowhere, Marcus Kemp at 350 developed into a pass rusher, which is kind of ridiculous. Cooper DeJean, 19 picks, did almost all that. We got him outside of the first year with the Philadelphia Eagles, so he has been incredible for us. I mean, just all in all, awesome rebuild. Couldn't have gone any better. So that being said, fellas, that is how we're going to wrap up today's video. I have no idea what I'm even going to title this. I don't like Pink Slips Madden 25. I'm probably going to tank the video because I don't know how to properly label it. But man, oh man, some generational talents. And I had a whole lot of fun here. Again, we're just kind of in a holding period until the 2025 NFL draft drops. And then we can start doing some realistic draft classes to correspond with that. I can't wait. That's honestly all I'm looking forward to, is to get back into that grind. Once all the drafts have been completed, all the rosters have been updated, we're going to have a good time with that one. But until that time, I'll be putting out any type of content. Few, rebuilds, mock drafts, draft content, pink slips, everything in between. So I very much appreciate your guys' love and support during this little kind of holding period for most football content creators, let alone Madden YouTubers. I appreciate you guys clicking on each and every one of my videos. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace, I love ya.